Turn the beat up in my headphones.
I don't know how loud this is going to be, but it's about out.
It's already loud.
All right.
Oh, that's
Manageable.
Is that manageable?
Yeah.
All right.
Are we recording?
Yes.
Cool.
We're back.
Where'd we go?
I don't know. We did a bunch of stuff.
What did we do?
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Mauro.
And I'm Dan.
And this is
Cool Animal People.
With new microphones, a new setup, a new table, a new everything.
I don't know what this is, but it
It's
does stuff and
called
Mauro
a
likes it.
Direct input box.
We also have mugs now.
We've had mugs.
Well, we have mugs now available at animalspodcast.com. They're not really, but if you want one,
go to
tell us.
animalspodcast.com, email us. We're back. We've been busy.
It's like super
And,
busy.
You know, we don't want to rush these kinds of things. We don't want to book an interview for tomorrow and then just
Not be prepared or bring like a guest that's no good. Like,
right.
We always want to bring our A game.
Speaking of, if you're just joining us, if you came from wherever and you heard about us, maybe on BuzzFeed or
Because we were on BuzzFeed.
Amazon Live or
good plug.
Anywhere else, I'm Mauro. That's Dan. This is Cool
Yeah.
Animal People, a segment of Let's Talk About Cool Animals, a podcast where we talk about
Cool animals
and cool people that like animals.
Yeah, that's like the only qualifiers. You have to be like nice to animals.
Cool and be nice to animals.
Yeah.
Easy as that. And today we had
one of the coolest animal people.
Yeah. Honestly, every intro is the same. We say this about everyone, but
They're all amazing.
if you don't know who Dr. Jan Pol is,
Google him.
Google him. Go to Disney Plus, type in Dr. Pol or The Incredible Dr. Pol, and you will see a man who has dedicated his entire life
50 years.
to animals, 50 plus, because he's been practicing for 50 years.
Yeah.
He's been in the animal welfare and medicine world since he was 12 years old.
Yeah, when he first helped birth a couple of calves.
With his older brother back in the Netherlands.
Yeah. That's when he knew. But we're not going to spoil.
We're not going to spoil anything, but please listen to this episode where I think we cover everything that has to do with like veterinary medicine.
Pus,
abscesses,
jinx, yomi,
dead offspring, like
anal glands,
just
everything, all the juicy stuff.
Yeah, and if you haven't watched his show, binge it. It's real.
Yeah,
I know a lot of reality shows.
This is actually real.
Not. This is real. This is what happens. Like it's just a camera following him around.
No,
practice.
They now don't even have the cameras.
Now it's robots.
They're all robotically set up, so it's like no one's there.
And you learn a lot too. Like if you're interested in becoming a vet tech, anything else, he has a lot of advice for people that are just starting out. I hope these mics sound good.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments.
Let us know if you noticed an audio quality change.
Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Isn't that what YouTube people say?
Smash that subscribe button. Well, this is good because we don't have to worry about like being too far. I'm moving my head right now.
Do you like the mics? Like I was concerned about where they are. Tell us how you feel about the placement afterwards.
It's still a work in progress ever since April 29th, 2020, where we had our first setup.
How do you remember
as you can
this
see
stuff?
here? I know things.
Amazing.
So just tune in, which
go.
you already have because you're listening to me talk.
Yeah. Continue tuning in.
Continue tuning in to listen to a fantastic conversation with Dan, myself, and the wonderful Dr.
The Incredible. Come on, that was right there.
I know, I'm sorry. But he's also wonderful and very endearing and such a nice man.
He's a very sweet human being.
So yeah, listen to this conversation with the incredible Dr. Jan Pol.
Right there. See? So we are here with the incredible Dr. Jan Pol. He has been practicing veterinary medicine for a whopping 50 years. Later this year, they will be on their 20th season of The Incredible Dr. Pol. Ladies and gentlemen, The Incredible Dr. Pol.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me there.
So,
yes, it's been 50 years. It's a long time, but it's fun.
50 years, that's half a century practicing
Yes.
veterinary medicine. That is Congratulations, first of
Yeah.
all. That is a
Thank
fantastic
you. Thank
feat.
you very much. Yes.
So those 50
But
years.
the thing is, I still enjoy doing it,
Right.
But
and I think that's important.
you can see that. Like we watched a ton of episodes in preparation, and that's the thing that I think makes me the happiest is seeing somebody who is genuinely in love with what they do. Like when you're birthing a calf or you're helping the llama
Oh yeah.
covered in blood,
Yeah.
poop, whatever,
Shirts off, just living life.
happy.
Yes. Yeah. Skin wash is a lot easier than clothes.
So we know you've been doing this for 50 years. I would love to hear, because I think everyone has their origin story, right? What was that moment, if you had one, where you realized like this is what I want to do with my life? I want to work with animals.
That is in my book, Never Turn Your Back on an Angus Cow. I was the youngest of 6, and I was 12 years old, tall, skinny, and my brother had some gilts that are sows, pigs that are having babies the first time. And this was a typical large animal veterinarian, muscles like this and strong as an ox. But his hands were way too big to reach into those little gills and pull the little ones out. So he stopped by. My brother lived only half a mile away. So he stopped by us and said, "Hey, you come with me." So we were in the barn, and he said, "Okay, flat out on your back or on your side and reach in and grab them." Huh? Yeah. So there you go. And yeah. It was.
How old were you?
12.
Wow.
Did he give you any guidance, or was it just get on in there?
Yeah, get in there. That's what he was told, and try to get them. Grab anything you can. And yes, if they were coming backwards, because piglets will come frontward or backwards makes no difference. If
Yeah.
it was coming backwards, it was easy. You just took a hind leg between your fingers. If they come forward and you wanted to grab them, those little things would just pedal backwards and get away from you. So yes, you had to be fast to grab them. And yes, it sounds crazy as it may seem, but you put 2 fingers, middle finger and your thumb, in the eye sockets with 1 finger underneath the chin and pull.
Wow.
And it was
I'm
fun.
going to store that information away.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
If I ever come
tell you.
across
It was fun. And when I come home, I told my mother, I said, "My gosh, this is fun. I wondered if I could become a veterinarian." She says, "Why not?" Well, that's how I started. So then you go to high school and you make sure that you get all the hard subjects, biology, math and all that. And then my sister moved to Canada in 1954, I think it was. And I was by far the youngest. So I wanted to have my parents come over to Canada and see where they were living, because my parents were getting old. And then I thought, hey, if I can become an exchange student, then why not let them come to Ontario, and I'm in Michigan, because on the map of North America, Ontario and Michigan is very close together.
It's like
Yeah.
that far apart.
Yeah,
very close. But
don't
there's some
look
water
at the
between
scale.
them.
Yeah.
Don't look at the scale. So anyway, yes, I was an exchange student, and they did come to Canada, and it was a good thing too, because when I came back in August in the Netherlands and started college, my parents came back in December, and a year later my dad developed bone cancer, and 9 months later he was gone. So as it turned out, it was just, it had to be that way. Well, the very first day in college, we were sitting with 300 new students, because in the Netherlands, colleges are free. If you want to go to college, you can. So there were 300 of us sitting in a room built for 100. And they were telling us,
Sounds a
you
little
want to,
tight.
you want to become a veterinarian, that's
people
fine.
looking through the window.
Almost. And, sorry about that, but my earring is falling out. So
Don't worry
anyway,
about it.
they tell me, you want to become a veterinarian, that's fine, but you're not going to be practicing because there's too many of you. And by that time I thought, well, I'm going to Australia and New Zealand. But Diane and I kept on writing, and Diane came over when my father was dying, And then we got married in 67. She came to the Netherlands for 3 years. I finished school, came right back to Michigan, and started in Harbor Beach, Michigan, right on Lake Michigan, Lake Huron. And yeah, 10 years there, and then we started here 40 years ago, and we're still going. And we just like the ever ready buddy, just keep going.
Doesn't matter where, it sounds like.
Yeah.
You know, you just go. Just keep going.
Watching you, you seem to have no shortage of energy at all times.
Right.
Just
I'm curious, is there anything special you do, you eat, you drink, anything, any special routine? What's your magic here?
Just get up and get to work. That's basically it.
I like that.
Yes.
that's wonderful.
And you know, another thing is that I say, this is a problem with America, I think, but it's maybe worldwide already. I eat to live. I don't live to eat. And many times...
That's important.
Yes. When we were starting 40 years ago, I was 80% dairy. We had dairy farms every mile. And, you know, I didn't take a lunch. If I was hungry, I knew exactly where the water tasted good. Some farms, there was good water, other one was good. So I would just fill up on water, just hang on the faucet and let the cold water just run down and go again. And that's how I kept going. But really, we were busy almost instantly here. So we got help, and right now there's 4 of us in the practice, Dr. Brenda, Dr. Lisa, and Dr. Nicole and me. And yes, we need more veterinarians because there is so many animals. And right now we're mainly small animal, but yes, we turn a dozen clients away every day, it seems like, because we cannot get new clients. You know, if the clients have new dogs and patients, we'll take them, of course. But we cannot take new clients at this time because there is just not enough hours in the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's probably no shortage of veterinarians who probably want to come work with you, though.
No, it's hard to find help. And you know, we still do large animal. You know, now, yes, a lot of horses because we still have a lot of Amish in our practice. And the cows are gone because you can't afford to milk cows anymore because the milk price is so low. But we still do a lot of horses. And I have taught myself to surgeries on horses that not many veterinarians do either.
Yeah, horse surgery is not an easy thing to tackle.
No, that's, you know, horses are a little bit different than cows. They are a lot stronger and they're a lot flightier.
Yeah.
But there again, you know, yes, you know what you have to do and just do it.
Now, did you specialize primarily in small animal or did you do large animal as well?
When I was in college in the Netherlands, it was large animal. There were there were about 100 of us that graduated. And about 5 of them said, we only want to do small animal. The rest was all mixed animal. And I liked the variety. And this is what people tell me. It makes no difference what animal comes through the door. I want to help it. And if you don't know, somebody else has done it before. Just look in the books, look on wherever you can find it, and do it. One of the funniest things that was many years ago already, this lady had a boa, a 6-foot-long boa constrictor, a very, very nice snake, and she fed it a live rat because that's what you do with snakes, and walked away. Well, it turned out that the rat started eating the snake. So, yes, he just luck along the backbone, took all the T-bone steaks out, and she called, and one of my colleagues was on call that weekend, and she says, I'm not doing the snake. I said, well, bring it in. And I fixed it, but the biggest problem is a snake, just like a cat, has to smell his food before he eats it. And he had been banging his head against the wall so hard that his nostrils were plugged. And he lived for some time, but then he finally died. But strange as it may seem, you know, these boa constrictors are really nice animals, and they also know who feeds them. But there again, you have to know, and this is what I tell everybody, if you want to have a pet that is out of the extraordinary, go online, find out what it needs, because it is not just like cat and dog that you can throw in the house and feed it twice a day and be done with it. No, these special animals need special care, and you should know about that before you get one.
Right. I feel like people are too quick to say, "Oh, that's a cool lizard."
That's a
but
cool looking
they don't
animal,
know
yeah.
that they have to have a set temperature
Yes.
in
Yeah.
every single
Yeah.
day. You have to find the environment and keep them comfortable, or else they're not going to have
That's
a good
exactly
life.
right. But the one other thing is, like if you want a parrot, parrots are very nice birds, very, very smart.
Mm-hmm.
But they outlive you. They live to be 60, 70
Yeah.
years old. So,
Yes.
so
Gotta
if,
include 'em in the
yes,
will.
and you have to have somebody that is familiar with that bird, because you cannot just take that bird to the other place, because I've seen parrots that were, bounced from one to the other, and the only feathers that were left were out on his neck. He was completely bald because he was so frustrated that he picked every feather off his body. And then you feel so sorry for that thing, because, how can you tell him it's going to be all right? Just, this other guy will take care of you.
Right.
No, he
Yeah.
misses his buddy. So yes, this is what I mean.
And he's
Yes,
expressing
and
it.
there's no way for him to tell everybody that, hey man,
Oh.
I want to have my boss back because he died. So
Yeah.
this is all
That's
things that you
heartbreaking.
really have to look at and work in. Make sure that you know what you get into before you get
Plan
them.
for the future.
Yeah, I
Well,
think-
we have a client that has a tortoise,
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
100 years.
Oh yeah. Well.
Oh yeah.
Go to the Galapagos and you have big ones.
Yeah. 150, 200
Oh
years.
man,
Yeah.
that was I got to go when I was about 16, and it was ever since I was 4 or 5 years old. I was obsessed with Darwin, so being able to go there was like probably one of the coolest experiences of my life. But what I
Right.
was going to say was, I worked as a vet tech before I started the dog walking business, and we had a cockatiel that came in that would board with us a couple of months out of the year because they would go on long vacations and stuff. And in the beginning, he would be so upset that he was in there, but he knew us as a team, so like he would get used to us, and he gives you his little kisses. He'll
Yes.
say good
Oh,
morning.
yeah.
He'll come sit with you, and I think people, they don't always understand, like, all of these individual animals have personalities.
Oh,
like
yes.
There's so much more than, oh, it's a bird, it's a fish, it's this.
No.
There's stuff going on that we don't know about.
And this is what I say also. Look the animal in the eye. They don't talk, but they sure can tell you with their body language what they want or what they feel. And many people will ask me, for instance, when do you think it's time for the animal to be put down because he's so old? I says, he will let you know. And animals are not afraid to die. When they have old age, sometimes they actually will let you know, hey, it's time for me. I don't want to live anymore. And they become, aloof, I call it. Where they will not, they ignore you. You call them and they turn their head away or they hide. And we don't always know if there's anything else that bothers them or it's just old age and pain.
Yeah.
And yes, this is the main thing, where you have to read the animal so that you can do the best for them. And I think that's important.
What actually, this would be great for our listeners. What do you think? What's like something the average pet owner? What are the things they should look for in their pets, in terms, not even just for when they're getting ready to cross over, but like just in general? What are the things that people should be looking at and looking for with just, I guess, dogs and cats?
Anything abnormal, because animals, if everything every day is the same routine, that is fantastic for animals, because they first want safety and then they want food. And you can see it when you have a bird feeder outside. There's a bird that's pecking away at food, and every 3 pecks he looks up, is it still safe? So they want a safe environment first. So that's what you give them, a nice home. And then you feed them. But every day the same is fine with animals. So if there's anything that is strange where, hey, you want to go for a walk, and the dog goes in the bedroom, that is an abnormal behavior. Then you say, okay, what's wrong with you? And he comes to you and he kind of looks at you and wags his tail. Yeah, I'm a veterinarian. And one of my dogs, one of Diane and I's dogs, is a Newfoundland that's now almost 12 years old. And
Wow.
yeah, that's old for a Newfie. And almost 2 years ago, we came from Canada, from my niece, and I had been looking at her because I could see in her eyes there was something wrong. But I'd done blood work and it was all normal, and I couldn't put my finger on. I felt her belly, a good physical exam, didn't find anything. We came back from Canada, and we had been gone only about 3 days. And I'm looking at her and says, what is wrong with you? And I feel her belly again. There it is. And honestly, we took an x-ray, and her spleen, honestly, was that big around. And so Diane and I, we're looking at each other. I said, what are we going to do? I says, I want to do surgery. So that was Saturday after Thanksgiving. I did the surgery. Diane Jr. was there, Charles was there, and Diane was there. All four of us. Everybody had gloves on, was sterile. And I made, probably an 8-inch cut in her belly, reached in, and when I pulled that tumor out, it completely fell apart because that's not solid tissue.
My God, yeah.
So I just basically ripped it out and it fell on the floor, clamped off the blood vessels, and I thought, well, if we have 3 weeks, we're lucky. It's been a year and a half, and she's still happy. The biggest problem,
That's amazing.
yes, the biggest problem now is that she has arthritis in her hips because she's getting so old.
Yeah.
Wow.
But every day she's happy. She wants to play. When we come home, she sits there and wags her tail, and but you can tell she's getting older.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. We.
But
I actually.
this is. Yeah, but this is what I mean. Something in her eyes told me something was wrong.
I just had the exact same thing. Literally, the exact same thing happened with my parents' dog. He was diagnosed. His brother. He was from the same litter as his brother, obviously. His brother had a tumor in his heart, and it had spread to the spleen. This was about 3 years ago, and when we discovered it, he had about 3 weeks, and then I ended up putting him to sleep at home.
Yeah.
But Caleb, he's been doing great, and about a year ago, the vet that I worked for diagnosed him with Cushing's. And so, he started having a little bit of a distended belly, but other than that, he was doing fine.
Yeah.
And he was my mom said he just seemed a little off. He didn't eat dinner.
Like you
the
say,
night before.
abnormal behavior.
And she was like, I just had a feeling. She brought him in, and I think we're going to have to put the picture of it here.
Yeah, we have the picture of the tumor.
They found it was a 6-pound splenic tumor. This thing was the size, it was a little bit smaller than a basketball.
Yeah.
And luckily it was benign. They took it out, and he's a completely different dog now because there was so much pressure on the abdomen. He couldn't breathe well and all that. He was just at my apartment all last weekend. The happiest dog in the world. And it was just that little thing. That thing, the tumor must have been growing for a decent amount of time.
Yes. Now, funny thing is, I don't know how long ago now, we have a client that has an apple orchard, but he has an ice cream store and some souvenirs and a whole bunch of animals. And I was there checking some animals, and one of his helpers says, hey, look at this ferret. What's the matter? Well, he just doesn't act right. Well, ferrets are long, thin animals, and when you pick them in the neck, they go to sleep. So I just
scruff them.
Yeah, you scruff them. So, I scruffed him, and I felt him and says, he has a big spleen. Oh? Well, what do you want to do? Well, you want me to take it out? Sure enough. So here's an animal, about 8 inches long. I took a 4-inch spleen out of it.
Jeez.
It was a ferret.
That spleen is a problem.
It is.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of splenic tumors removed just in this small amount of time I worked as a vet tech.
Yeah.
And it is
and it's an organ
it's wreaking havoc in there.
Yeah, and then it's an organ that we really don't need.
Yeah.
But yes,
we
get
need it
rid
to
of it.
survive.
yeah.
But you talk about, finding, keeping your eye out for abnormal behavior.
Yes.
That's half of the patients that come in your show, The Incredible Dr. Paul. To people listening, go on Disney Plus, all 18 seasons available. Watch them all.
Watch all of them.
Watch all the seasons. Like, you'll learn a lot. But yeah, half of the patients that come in, it's from an animal or a pet that has broken the routine.
Yes.
They started laying down too much. They haven't been eaten. Like, it's just this
The little
Yes.
things. It's not like, oh my God, he's bleeding out.
No.
No, it's usually like very small things
Yes.
that
Yeah.
happen. Can you talk about how you go about diagnosing like some of those abnormal behaviors?
Okay. We have 5 senses. We see, we listen, we feel, we smell, and we taste. Taste is dead last. But I've tasted. So you use those. And yes, the main thing is do a good physical, which is more than just taking the temperature and listen to the heart. With my hands, you feel an animal. And many times, if they are not tense in the belly, you can feel things inside. And if that's not good enough, well, then you can take blood and do the blood work, or you can take X-rays or ultrasounds. All these things are possible to help you make a diagnosis. And yeah, when you come up to something, then you give the people the option. This is what we find. What do we do? And sometimes people say, well, how serious is it? Well, not serious. A dog was brought in today. The guy thought he had bad hips, and when he was walking in from outside, he said, no, that's not hips, that's knees. And it was only a 4-year-old dog.
Oh.
And so, let's take an X-ray. And sure enough, his hips were beautiful, but his knees are shot.
Oh.
What you gonna do?
Exactly.
Yes, you can put a new knee in, not in a dog, because they're all different sizes and everything. So yes, you just help them along as long as you can.
To everyone listening and watching, friendly reminder: take your pet to the vet for a physical every year.
Yes, definitely.
Please don't wait 5 years. Don't wait 6
annual
years.
checkup.
Every year, take them for a checkup,
Yeah.
please.
And it doesn't have to be a very extensive, physical. It is just just look them over, routine. Look at how they look, and that helps you out an awful lot. But there again, if people want to get a new pet, and I tell them, this dog is 14 years old. We have to put her down because she's in so much pain. And I saw this guy this morning. Actually, he's and I told him, he says, yes, you'll never find the same dog again, because every animal is its own individual. But it doesn't mean that you cannot love another dog. And many times people will go to animal control and look for a dog, a replacement. Don't look at the dog and say, okay, this is a nice dog, I want him. No. Walk by, let the animal come to you. It's amazingly how many times I've heard people say, yeah, dog came to my door, best dog I ever had. Animals also know when they are rescued. And when you take them away from the dog pound, it's the animal that comes to you that actually you should take home, because they actually are smarter than what we are, and they find, hey, it fits. Don't ask me how.
The dog chooses you.
It's a sixth sense that these animals that sometimes I wish I had, but maybe it's better I don't.
I had that exact same thing happen to me when I was 7 years old. We had lost the dog that I'd grown up with. And so a family friend was like, hey, there's this amazing dog down at the shelter. You have to go check him out. So I went there with my mom, my little brother. I was 7 years old. I think I was coming from karate, so I was still in my whole karate getup. And, thinking I was a really cool kid. And so I sat down on the floor. He walked over to me, licked my face, curled up, and sat in my lap. And my mom was like,
That's
all
it.
right,
Yep.
this is it. And he lived till he was 17 years old. He was, I love all my dogs that I've ever had, but he was such a sweet dog. A lunatic, but a very, very sweet boy.
not the last dog we got, but we have a Saint Bernard, and
Oh my
he's
God.
now 225 pounds.
What?
He's huge. Yes.
That
He's
is
big.
massive.
That's
Yeah,
a horse.
No, a bear.
That's only
That's a
20
bear.
pounds less than me.
The paw is the size of my face.
Yeah. Honestly. And
225 pounds?
25 pounds, yes.
Wow.
And it's not that we fed him that much. He just, he's that size, and he
I'm
moves.
200
Oh, man.
pounds. I'm
He
200
can move fast if he wants to, but
But he probably
He-
doesn't want to.
no, he came to the dog pound, and he was neglected, and so I says, let me see what he looks like. And honestly, they had to behind a locked door, and I said, open it. And I walked right in there, and I look at him, and I just grab him by the ears. He says, oh my gosh, what didn't they do to you? He was completely neglected.
Oh.
So the next morning, they bring him to the clinic to have a shave down, and I used sheep shears to do that. And he said, you may have to tranquilize him because he's a little uppity for us. He came to the clinic, and I said, sit. He sat down and clipped all the hair and all the mats off. And Diane looks at me and said, what are you going to do? I said, what do you mean? He's not going back there. I said, so-and-so to the guy. Says, can we foster him for the time? yes, you can. So what we did, we had two other dogs. We had the Dane and the Newfie. I just sat with him, and I think that's part of the show someplace too. Outside, I sat on the steps, and he was walking around in the closed area, and suddenly he comes up to me and just turns around, plops down right beside me, and there he lays. Then we brought our other two dogs, so they met on a neutral territory, and they just sniffed each other and said, yep, you're a dog, who cares?
He's one of us.
He's good.
And he's good, and he came home, and we have never had any problem that they were fighting with the others or got in a tussle
Wow.
with the others. Just never had any problem
They
with
know.
him. Yes.
They know.
Yeah, I know. And the last one that we have now is also a Great Dane. She is, I don't know if she's 100% Great Dane, but man, she is sweet also. So,
You're a
yes.
fan of the small dog breeds,
you like
huh?
small
You
dogs,
small
huh?
dogs.
No, we have 4 dogs in the house and a total of 600 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
I still can't get over the fact that I think the
225.
biggest dog I've seen was like 190, 195.
No.
225.
225.
Yeah.
Is he the one who's on the main page of your website?
Most likely,
to be.
because it's the only Saint Bernard that we've had so far, yes.
Oh, he
Wow.
is so cute, but
Yes.
he has a huge head.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how is he? I know you had a granddaughter recently within the past couple of
Well,
years. right?
Congratulations,
Yes,
by the way,
she's
yeah.
already 20 months old.
How are they with her? Because they must love her.
Yeah, that too. But don't forget that Charles has 2 Danes himself. So she is used.
Oh, okay, so she's used
She's
to the
a
mega
big Dane.
dogs.
And I have a picture of her climbing in the cage with one of the Danes and just sitting on him. And they love it.
They're like the perfect dogs for
One
that.
tenth of the size of the dog.
Yeah.
And she just was on one side and she wanted to climb over. So she just climbed over and sat on him and they took a picture. And he is sitting there.
Oh, that's
okay,
adorable.
Yeah, it is. But the thing is, these big dogs have to be that sweet because their
Yeah.
jaws are strong enough to crush your wrist.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
So yes, they have to be well behaved. And yeah, they still bark if strangers come, but most of the time, strangers come in, we say, okay, let them come in, and just stand still, let them sniff you over, and pretty soon they sit on your lap.
Right. As long as you don't do anything suspicious, we're fine.
They
Right?
pass
But
the
there again,
security
that-
check.
That's
They're
sixth
super
sense
smart.
that they have. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
know. They know, okay, you're a good guy or you're not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, do you have a question?
No, go.
I was gonna go. So, you've seen
A bunch.
A couple of animals in your life.
At least 3 or 4.
Yeah, you've been practicing medicine half a century. The show has been on for 10 years. What was, I know this is a tough question, but what was the weirdest thing that you've seen, that you've treated? What was the weirdest animal? I want you to go deep in your brain and think about the weirdest thing that has happened while you were in practice.
It's so hard because
There's so many.
I know.
Yes.
19,000 clients. I'm sorry.
Well, just recently, it was a dog that went through the rototiller. Yes,
What?
his front leg was almost cut off.
Oh my God.
Almost cut off.
Almost cut off. Put him back together. It's about 2 months ago. He's running like
Stop
crazy.
it.
But
That's amazing.
No, it's an animal. It's an animal. They heal
Yeah.
up. But one of the craziest days I had. In the morning, I castrated a 3-ounce rat. In the afternoon, I castrated a 2,500-pound Belgian.
So the days vary with species and size a little bit.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yes.
I feel like that's got to be really nice
Yes.
though, having a nice variation of working with dogs, cats,
keeps the job
bovine,
new.
all
Yes.
that stuff.
See, and this is what I enjoy about it, because if there's something else coming through the door, then it's a challenge to do the right thing. And don't ask me why, but I love challenges. I worked with a rodeo outfit, wild bulls and horses that are trained to be wild.
Yeah.
Oh man, those animals have the life of Riley, because all they have to do is work for 10 seconds to get that idiot off their back, and they can rest again. But they're dangerous. And yes, it's fun of them. And I remember one of the bulls, they started fighting, and those horns are big.
Yeah.
And he busted the horn off almost in his forehead. So they had the whole thing taped up so it wouldn't hurt him so much when he came back from the rodeo, and he said, "Doc, can you fix him?" Well, I'm not putting it back on. So I knocked that bull out, and I cut the whole horn off, and I still have it.
Wow.
And they said that after that was the meanest bull in the rodeo outfit. There was not a cowboy that could stay on his back. He was the unicorn, all right, to tell you.
Changed
yes.
them completely.
Retired a champion.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He was just really ticked off that he lost the horn. But
He's
yeah,
like, I'll get my
strange-
revenge.
Yes. Strange animals, yeah, I've had a lot. Like I said, I try to take care of every animal, even if they have funky pets. We now right now I have people that have a pet skunk, and
Do they have the scent glands removed, or are they still?
Yes, they were. No, they removed when it was very young.
Yeah.
But very sweet animal, very sweet. And just don't be threatening to it. So
Right.
if he comes in, just let him smell you over, and then you work with him.
That's with
And
every
that's
animal.
the whole
Yeah.
secret.
If you're
Yes,
watching or
that-
listening,
yes.
you have to give
Every
the
animal.
animal time.
Let them
Yeah.
come to you and don't get
Yes.
in their
Exactly.
space.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same thing when you go up to a horse. Never go out there, with hands outstretched or anything like this. When I go up
Right.
to a horse, I walk up to him with my hands by my side, walk right up to his nose, and 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you can do whatever you want to.
Right.
And this is the whole secret. Let the animal see who you are, and then it's a lot easier to work with them.
Right, because put yourself in the animal's shoes. It's
Yes.
This usually
or
it's
hooves.
this giant other apex predator, which is us, and
Yeah.
coming towards them, they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, I'm gonna die! I'm gonna die!
Yeah.
I'm gonna die! I'm gonna die!"
Or if it's
could-
bigger, I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna kill
Yeah.
it.
Right. I can tell you a funny story about that. I was still in college, and we were in the clinic for the surgery, and I don't know what we had to do with that horse, but there was a veterinarian who had been in private practice but couldn't do it. And we had to do something with that horse, and they always needed a big 60 cc dose of antitoxin if we wanted to do some surgery. And the clinic hands that were handling these horses were very good. And this guy comes up with that huge needle, and he was sneaking up to the horse like this to just give it in a hurry. And that horse sees it, and he goes right up in the air.
Yeah.
The clinic hand is hanging on to the halter with one hand. It swings completely in half a circle around, and they come down again together. And in the meantime, that veterinarian walked right underneath the front legs of that horse, and everybody was standing there. Oh my goodness. I don't know how nobody got hurt, but I tell you, that was something else.
That man is alive?
Yes.
Is what you're saying?
Yeah, not anymore.
How?
because-
No broken bones?
Oh
Not at
my
that time.
God.
Luck.
Oh, yes. But this is the thing. So never be threatening to a horse because
Never.
Never.
No.
But this clinic man, the one that was working in the clinic, so strong with one hand, he was just hanging on 4 feet off the ground in a circle and came down again and still was hanging on to the horse. Oh, I tell you.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Funny stories. That's over 50 years ago.
It was funny because no one got hurt.
Yes. Yeah, yes.
So
exactly
speaking
right.
of
Yeah.
potentially getting hurt, what would you like? Again, go back deep into the memories in this one.
The archives.
What is you think the most dangerous situation you've been in treating an animal?
That was an Amish guy that wanted to sell his herd. And at that time, we had to still test for TB. And he had this bull in the pen that had a ring in his nose and a chain. It was a Holstein bull weighing about 1,600 pounds. And I had a lady riding with me, a very strong, heavy girl. And I grabbed the chain and I told her, wrap it around and hang on to it. So I jumped in the pen to put tuberculin on his tail head. And that bull was so strong, she couldn't hang on to it. And she says, Doc, I can't hang on to it. So I just cleared the gate, and he helped me over the gate. And actually, with his head, pinched me and pulled my boot off. That was the closest I ever been.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yes, you learn, do not fight with them. Get out of the
Yeah.
way.
And that made you better for the next time you have to handle a bull
Well,
like
3
that,
days,
you know?
3 days later, we had to, read the TB, and
Yeah.
the farmer at the time was there, and so he grabbed a rake and grabbed the chain and wrapped it around again. But he was stronger than the girl riding with me, so that bull then was standing still. But
Yeah.
no, bulls like this, they can be go to a McDonald's. That's fine with me. Yeah.
Funny.
Hey, I feel like that's a lesson you only have to learn one
Well,
time.
Yeah, just
But
once.
that's the thing. If you have one animal like that alone, and he was alone in a pen, they're a lot more dangerous than when you have two.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it is, but when you have two animals in the pen, and you can work with them. It was the same thing at the rodeo, and you still see it. And if you go to a rodeo and this bull is loose, and they try to chase him in the gate and he won't go, they put another bull in with him, and then the two together run out. I don't know what it is, but two animals is safe.
It's
than
that
when you have
herd
one.
mentality.
Yes,
The herd
it's a
I
herd
have a-
mentality.
Yeah.
I have a theory on this, actually.
Okay, go ahead.
So I've noticed, and you see this with human couples, right? So if you got one person who gets super angry, the other person usually has to de-escalate it. And
Yes.
I see this with my fiance and I, because we both can get very heated, but it always is the opposite. So if she's getting really jacked up, I'm like, all right, let's bring it down.
Yeah.
If I'm getting jacked up, all right, let's bring it down. I think somehow
I think that fits.
Yeah.
there's some sort of a balance that happens when it's
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
all right, I'm acting real different than that guy is. Maybe I need to kind of adjust what I'm doing and how I'm acting and act like that guy a little bit.
Yes.
So there's got to be some sort of energy exchange that takes place.
Yeah, or together we can feel safer or whatever, and we can do it. But yes,
Yeah, there's definitely something
yes.
there.
But like I said, when they are alone and you're after them, they know exactly that you're after them, so they're going to get you. Well, if there's two of
Yeah.
them, oh no, he's going after the other guy, so it's okay. I don't know.
I feel like also too, if they've had one bad experience with a vet who's maybe,
Oh, yeah.
'cause if you come into a situation nervous, they pick up on that. Like
Oh, 100%.
100%
man.
they feed off
And
that.
they remember.
Forever.
Yeah.
I had many years ago, this lady is bringing in a pit bull. And I walk in the room and she's sitting on the chair. The pit bull is underneath the chair between her legs and he lunges at me. And I ask her, can you control him? No, she says, I'm afraid. I says, okay, go home, bring your husband. A week later, they come. The dog is there. She is there, the husband and 2 kids. The husband puts the dog on the table. He licks my face. I can do anything with him.
Wow.
It was just that he felt she was scared, so he was protecting her.
Yeah.
And that's what they
Right.
feel. So yes,
And
it's
it's
important.
a back and forth.
Yes. Oh yeah. So you have to be able to keep your dog at ease. And
Yeah.
we were just talking about the 4th of July, with all the fireworks going on. Many dogs are
Yeah.
scared because the owners think the dog is scared and try to quiet him.
Yeah.
And that is actually wrong. Okay, there's a loud bang. So what? Act normal. Because if you act normal, the dog will say, well, that loud noise didn't bother me. Doesn't work all the time. But yes, if you act normal and are not scared, the dog picks that up easily.
That's a perfect piece of information for everybody. So remember, act normal, and it's going
Right,
to de-escalate
because you
your
also
dog.
have owners that when dogs, obviously, like dogs will bark at loud noises. The owner will raise their voice saying, hey, shut up, stop barking.
Yeah.
That the dog picks up
Oh, yeah.
on that and says, oh
Yeah.
my God, I need to bark
Yeah.
louder because you are barking
Yeah.
now. It's such a simple back and forth where if you just act normal, pet them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like everything's
Go
fine.
take him for a walk when the
they'll calm down.
firecrackers are going on and just keep walking normal.
Yeah. I mean, you probably see it all the time. The correlation between an owner's personality and
Yes.
the dog's anxiety levels usually go hand
Yep.
in hand.
That's exactly
They
right.
feed
Yes.
off of that.
Yeah.
I want to know, out of all the animals out there, what is your absolute favorite, 1 to work with and 2 to be around?
This is a question I get all the time. What is your favorite animal? A healthy animal.
That's the perfect answer.
I don't have favorite. Yes, I don't.
It was
have
a trick
favorite
question.
Animals.
You answered the right way.
I've been asked that question 100,000 times. I like dogs. I love cats. I love horses. I was born and raised with cows. Animals are my life. So it makes no difference what kind of animal it is. And I don't have a favorite animal because, I like to work with all animals. But the favorite animal, of course, is a healthy animal because that's my job.
Yeah, I like in your TV show, like the main thing, the animal comes first.
Yeah.
Yes.
The bill and the owner are separate, but you focus, like it's always like, because I see you approach, like when you go on farm calls or when someone comes in, you just go to the animal. You just go straight for the animal and then start asking questions when you feel like the questions need to be answered. A lot of people that we deal with, like our clients, it's always like, why aren't you paying attention to me? Like it's like because we're in the pet care industry. We care for pets.
Focus on the
We
animals.
will always just
Yes.
go straight to the animal, and that
Yes.
sort of hyper focus is what makes a great veterinary like you.
Maybe. The thing is also that you can see, I can anyway, when an animal is sick.
Right.
Yeah.
Many years ago, when we had all these farm clients, we sometimes went to him, and he was not home. And at those days, the cattle were still in pasture. And I know the guy had a sick cow, but I don't know how many cows he had in the pasture, but he wasn't home. So I walk in the pasture, and I'm looking through there, and I pick out the cow, and I bring it in the barn. And he comes home and says, "How did you know that cow was sick?" I says, "Well, that's my job, man."
Just by looking at it.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so funny because I think it was the first episode you took Charles to palpate some cows. And
Oh, yeah.
and you just like, you got in there. Okay, there's 2 in there. Boom, no, she's pregnant. So 70 weeks, whatever. Just getting just 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and he's like, how did you do that so quick? He's like, you just know. You just know.
Becomes second nature.
Yeah.
Been doing it for 50
It's
years.
like,
Yeah. See,
okay,
when
we're good.
when I was in college in the Netherlands, they told us if you're right-handed, you palpate with your left hand because
wow.
you can get more sensitive in your fingers with your non-dominant hand.
Yeah.
So, I'm right-handed, I palpate left-handed, and yes, with these fingers I can see. And we were in the Netherlands several years ago, and there was one of the owner of the practice even visited us here because they liked the show, and they were practically checking with an ultrasound, and they wanted to see who was more accurate. I was. I was twice as fast and more accurate.
That's
Right, and look. Guess what? You don't need equipment. This is your equipment.
Yes. This is what it said.
You go in.
Yeah, we have 5 senses. Many times it's nice, like for horses, when you have an ultrasound, so you can take, on the screen
Right.
and show them that there is a fetus there. But in
Yeah.
cows, it takes too long. And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I have done 300 cows in a day many times.
Whew.
And if
That is a long
That's got to
day.
be a world record. We got to call Guinness for the
No.
world. That's got to be how many cows palpated in one day.
there are beef veterinarians, in beef practices that do the same thing. But
Wow.
you cannot do with an ultrasound because it just takes too long. And
Yeah.
many times what we were doing were pregnancy check in the milking parlor. So that, there are 12 cows in a row, so you just fill it up and you have to walk back and forth
Yeah.
with that thing all the time. No, get in there and get the next one.
Get in, get
Yeah.
out.
Wow.
How long you grew up around
Yes.
cows. So how long did it take as a veterinarian for you to be like, all right, I can get in and get out? I'm sure. I mean, unless it was just day one, you were
No.
in and out and you knew what was happening.
We had a lot of hands-on practice in my college. And that, yes, to be honest with you, we learned to palpate at the slaughterhouse, where there were cows that were going to be slaughtered the next day, and we had no idea what was going on. So, we were going there and palpate the cows, and you had everything. You could find the pregnant cows, non-pregnant cows, whatever. And that's what we learned. So, yes, when I started in Harbor Beach, I had to learn and get more accurate, but the more you do it, the more you learn. And
Right.
I don't know how long it took me really to become accurate enough to say, okay. The funny thing is, when I came here 40 years ago, there was a lack of large animal veterinarians. So we actually got in a big vacuum, and I got a call, and that's in the book also, and what was funny. And farmer calls up, and he's still a client, by the way. You pregnancy check cows? Yes. How many can you do? All of them. So I went out there, and the lady always kept very good records, and she told me, okay, this one is bred 45 days ago, this one is bred. I said, don't tell me. I'm going to tell you, and then you see if I'm accurate enough. And that's what I did. And she was surprised, how accurate I was. Usually within 5 days up to 2 months.
Wow.
Wow.
And, and then there was another case where I came in, and it was heifers. And she said, 40 days. I says, no, this one is not 40 days pregnant. This one is 27 days, 25? She says, no. He says, then you got the wrong heifer. So she went up front, looked at the number and the ear tag. I said, oh, wrong heifer. This one's not on the list.
Wow.
I said, but she's pregnant. So she went to the list where they had the breeding dates, and that's when she says, yeah, he's 27 days pregnant.
Wow.
So yes.
It's good to have you
That's-
around,
yeah, that's something-
checking who's pregnant and who's not.
That's
I know.
something no machine can do.
Yeah.
And that's you get like that with hands-on. Like you started when you were 12 years old with hands-on experience. Even if you didn't want to, you got hands-on experience. So, I don't know what vet school's like now, but I'm sure they don't have cows lined up where you can palpate them.
That is
definitely
like
do.
that, like
that
a
is the
mass
problem.
300
Yes.
people.
Yeah, that is the problem. That's right now there is not as many cows, and the hands-on is hard to do. Before I graduated, I had done a C-section on a cow by myself with help from others, but yes, we had done a C-section.
I think that's honestly my eventual plan is I'm looking to down the line step down from this company, and I want to continue my education, go to vet school, and honestly learning everything that I learned working in an animal hospital for 4 years, like I got to learn so many things that I wouldn't have gotten to learn if I was if I was just in school, like
Just
assisting
reading
in
about it.
surgeries, and I'm so comfortable with it too. Like I'll go hop in on a surgery right now. Like you invite me. By the way, if you invite me to come out to Michigan, I am there. Whatever
You need
want me to.
you need two hands. You said you need
Yeah,
help. like
literally,
Dan-
I will come scoop shit. I will do whatever you need me to do out there. I would love to come hang out with you at your practice. I'll come birth some calves with you. But that's the biggest thing is the experience is just
Hands-on.
so
Hands-on.
important
Yeah.
for people.
Charles and that's going to be in the next show because the next season starts July 10th, but I don't know exactly when. But we were called out to an Amish place way north, and it was a mare trying to have a colt, and it was coming backwards. And she already had started in the night, so by the time we got there, she had been in labor too long, really. And what happened was that it was huge. I managed to get in there and get the chains on the legs. And so then we used the calf puller because there was no way that you could pull this by hand. And Charles and I were both at the end of the calf puller because I was not heavy enough. If she would move, she would almost pick me off the ground.
Yeah.
So we were just very slowly trying to get this colt out, and we got it out. And that thing weighed 175 pounds. Yeah.
What?
A Belgian mare. Mare had a colt that weighed 175 pounds. And of course, that was way too big coming backwards. You get the big hips right away.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a wedge. Yeah.
Yes. So
You're not kind of opening the canal.
Wow.
that's exactly right. So this mare just quit pushing because it hurt.
Oh.
and
poor
and
girl.
when we started pulling on it, yes, she had to. And by the time, it took, I would say 15, 20 minutes to get the pelvis of the colt into the pelvis of the mare. And then, the rest will come. But it was so big that the mare just quit pushing. And they got the whole thing on film because the Amish would less film there. So they'll see how that's going there. But the colt was dead, of course. It took too long already, but the mare was fine.
Wow.
170. That's a big baby.
Pounds.
That is very big.
And
yes,
it was
very big.
it was healthy. It was alive. Nothing broken.
Just way too big. Just way too big.
Just a monster.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there again, like I said, one of my mottos is, if you don't try, you never know if it's going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
And most of the time, when a horse breaks its leg, it's a death sentence. And especially, for older horses. But this Amish gentleman had a 2-month-old Belgian colt that got stepped on. And the fracture was in the lower part of the leg, below the knee, the front knee.
Oof.
And he says, Doc, what shall we do? I says, hey, you want me to try to help you set it? Why not? We got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So, yes, that in practice, what I use is a whole bunch of padding, and then I use bushel baskets that I take apart. Maybe you've seen it.
Yes. I love it. I
And,
love that part of the
yeah,
show.
yeah, and we did the same thing with this colt. And I told him, box rest, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I saw, that was last year, and I saw that colt just about a month ago. It's running just as fast as the others. There's
Wow.
a
Oh,
that's
little swelling
amazing.
in the leg, and everything is fine. And yeah, like I said, if you don't try it, you'll never know if it works. And in this case, we saved that colt again, and that's
Also,
the fun
yeah.
part. And this is what I like. This is the challenge where you say,
Yeah.
hey, do it.
Yeah, credit to the owner too, because
For taking the chance,
Yes,
yeah.
a lot of owners are like, "Oh,
Yes.
they're in pain. I don't want to try anything else. Put them down." But you could take the chance, like you said.
Yeah.
You need to try
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's that
Yep.
simple. Just
And
try.
like I said, yes, and that's the fun part of my job, where there is a challenge in there every day to do the things right, and I love it.
It's wonderful that you see it that way. Like I don't know many other vets.
Living puzzles.
Yeah, I don't know about
Yeah.
how
Yes.
everyone else
Oh, yeah.
goes about it, but it's like you're like the Dr. House of veterinary school.
Like,
you're
Yeah.
like
the complex cases.
yeah.
Yes, but no, it's like I said, it's a challenge, and that's a challenge. I don't know what it is, but always try to do the best you can, and not everything you can save. That's
Yeah,
the whole
right.
secret. But
Knowing when to let go also. Not
Yes.
not
Yeah.
being stubborn about trying to
No.
do the impossible also.
Yeah.
And don't forget, it's always also to the owner's transgression. But he says,
Exactly.
and when the dog is that old, well, then maybe don't do the expensive surgery, but get the next one. Just last time, I had to put the dog down just recently too. But this lady comes in with an old dog, an 11-year-old German Shepherd that also has a big spleen. And I asked her, what do you want me to do? I can put it on medicine and keep it comfortable, but she calls up to this lady, can you do the surgery because my husband died and it's his dog? Sure can. So put him on the table and he lived a year.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was, he died of basically old age
Yeah.
when there was something else wrong again. But it's just like with my dog, you think that you do it, and then you hope for the best, and you
Yeah.
think you got a little time, and this is a year and a half, almost 2 years later, and she's still going strong.
Right. Best case scenario, you give
Yeah.
them comfort for
Yeah.
Yes.
1 or 2 years
Yeah.
at the end of their life.
And yes, and yeah, as long as you can do it where the animal feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
That's the whole
extending the
secret.
pain.
That's the
Yeah.
most
No,
important thing,
no.
I think, is maintaining
Yes.
the quality of life. I
Quality,
remember.
that's all that counts. Quality of life.
Yeah. Because you see it where people come in, and I'm sure you've seen it where they bring a dog in and I want to do this surgery, I want to do this, I want to do that, and like it's time for the dog.
Yeah.
How do you have those kinds of conversations with people? Are you ever just like, look, I think it's time, like you're putting your dog through a lot, or your cat or whoever through a lot?
We don't have that many people like that, because most of the time I look at them and says, this is high time for the animal to go, because
Yeah.
it's, like I said, animals are not afraid to die. And case in point is, many years ago, my colleague had 3 dogs, also rescues, and she kicks them out at night to go to the bathroom, and the old dog never came back, and they never
Oh, wow.
found it.
Wow, so
Because
she just went off.
So
She just
that's
went
what
off.
happened to my girlfriend's cat too.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's cat was an
Yeah.
indoor-outdoor cat.
Yeah.
She was 19 years old. One day she went outside, never
Came back.
Yeah.
And that is kind of hard, but yeah, this is what animals do, and you
Yeah.
gotta.
It's part of nature.
It's part of nature, and you gotta accept that these animals, want to go.
Yeah,
And-
it's
and-
easier like when you see it as a natural process. It's like, listen, they know they're ready to go.
That's right.
And they're trying to make it easier for you.
Yeah.
Because they know that they're going to
Yeah.
be gone.
Oh,
they just-
yeah.
You know,
And-
it's way easier to see someone not find your pet
Right,
dead
and so
on
and
the
so
rug.
and many times we see where people almost wait too long, and
Yes.
it's a little selfish maybe, but I can fully understand it completely too, because
yeah.
Absolutely.
it's a pet that has been with you for so long that you want to keep it forever. Well, that's not
Yeah, it's
possible.
part of your family.
Yes, like I said, if you want to have one that outlives you, you need a parrot or an elephant.
Yeah.
Elephant would be
I
nice.
like to say this when when I'm talking to someone who's going through that is pets are a fraction of our life, but we are their entire world.
Yes,
Because
Yeah.
yeah,
they think we're just immortal gods. Like
Yeah.
we don't, in their eyes, we don't age.
Kyle
like,
just thought I was a food person.
like
I was just
you
the guy
know,
who feeds him.
we have to see it as, say if you're lucky, your dog or cat will live to be 20
Yes.
years old, but like that's a fraction of our
Yes.
lives, hopefully.
Yeah.
And to them,
Yeah.
you gave them a
Yes.
home, you gave them someone to love, you gave them shelter, you gave
Family.
them food, family,
Yeah, companionship.
love, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Companionship. It's a
Companionship.
beautiful thing to see it that
Yes.
way, from the perspective of
yes.
the pet.
And yes, we, like I said, we have 4 dogs in the house and 4 cats, and both of us work. But that is the routine. The animals know, and they know exactly when we are
Right.
supposed to come home,
And they love it.
And yeah,
Yeah.
and for them, it's a good life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they thrive. People thrive in routine. At
Right.
least me. Like if
Yeah.
I have a good routine, I'm getting a lot.
Like
of
you
stuff
said,
done.
wake up and go do your
Yeah,
work.
Get to
That's
work.
it.
Yeah,
So
That's it.
I do have another vet school related question. Also, I'm going to be asking you for a letter recommendation when I apply. Dr. Evan Anton already agreed, so I'm going to ask you on camera to be willing to write me a letter for vet school. We could talk more off camera about it. For those people out there who are interested in either becoming a vet tech or becoming a veterinarian, what advice do you have for them? What should they be doing? Whether they're, if they're young and they're teenagers, they're in
Yes.
their 20s, they're
Volunteer.
older.
because being a veterinarian is basically it's a one-way street. There's not many other things that you can do as a veterinarian. Yes, you can go and research and all that stuff, but if you want to have a practice, get experience. Go volunteer at animal shelters, veterinarians, whatever you can, so you learn how to work with animals, and then see, okay, this is what I want to do. And people ask me sometimes, did you ever think that you did what? No. And have you ever thrown up because of bad smells? No, never. The only time that I was a little queasy was when I was in vet school and I was behind the table handing instruments to the veterinarian that had to deliver a dead calf. And for some reason or other, that I was a little queasy. I said, oh, come on, that doesn't bother me at all. Got over it. And right now, whatever smell there is, it doesn't bother me at all.
Wow.
Yeah, you get
Yeah,
used to it.
yes.
In the show, you've delivered dead calves.
Yeah.
Several episodes.
Yeah.
It's like you just go in there, boom.
There was one horse that actually started having a cold on Saturday, and on Monday morning they called us. And honestly, that smell was something that, But the camera crew says many times, we should have smell-o-vision. I say, yeah.
Get the true
but then-
experience.
yes, but then nobody wants to watch it.
Everyone will just
Because
listen.
honestly- oh, yeah. Because I tell you, that was a smell that was, even Charles remembers it.
Yeah, I feel like people don't understand, the
intensity of the
like I
smells
know
that
they
you
they
encounter.
blur on the show. They blur all the blood and
Oh, do
whatever.
they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or but
Yeah.
you don't get the full experience.
No.
I feel like people need to
They
see that.
In the beginning they did that, and then they quit doing
Yeah.
it, and now I see every so often they do it again, and they shouldn't
Yeah.
do it because
Right.
the youngest fan that came through the clinic many years ago already was 17 months old. A little girl in diapers that was standing on the scale, on the floor scale in the clinic with a grin from here to here and
Oh.
fist bumped me. and this is what I find where the kids, and it makes no difference on teenagers, most of them, like say under 12, never ever get, how should I say that, grossed
Bothered.
out by the show.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
And the parents sometimes, oh my gosh, I couldn't look away. And the kid is there standing laughing, ha, ha, ha. Why do you look away? This is nothing, you know?
Yeah.
I don't understand. But
Right.
It's a lot of learned behavior.
Yeah.
Yes, but I think part of the thing is, and especially with kids under 5 that are big fans, they see for some reason or other that it's real.
Yeah.
And I think this is what they like, and this is what they like about the show. And this is what we say also, hey, when we get kicked in the show, it hurts.
Right.
It's real.
And also, you're influencing, like, literally influencing the next
Generations.
generation of vets.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if they get comfortable, like you did at 12 years old, grabbing,
Yeah. Yes.
it's a different. It will be a different bringing up and education for them
Yes.
if they're used to it as
Yeah.
as
But
young
there
kids.
again, start volunteering. Make sure that you learn how to work with animals before you go
Right.
to vet school.
And know what you're getting yourself into.
Oh, yes.
Before,
Yeah.
because it's not all about reading.
Go
books.
hang out at a farm and smell the
Yes.
smells. Know the
Yes.
smells. I think the most distinct smell for me was it was an infected anal gland that had ruptured. And I remember they were cleaning it out, and I had just gotten to work that morning, and I was eating my breakfast, and it hit me, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep eating my breakfast, but this was like over 10, 12 years
Yes.
ago.
And you remember
I
it.
remember it so vividly, that smell.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's what it is. And yes, you gotta get
What
used
was
to
that
it.
for you, Dr. Pol? What was that for you? The worst smell.
The worst smell, that was one of those colds. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Worst
Yeah.
smell ever.
Yeah.
Last question. I mean,
We got through everything, but honestly,
wait,
like,
before you go with the
yeah,
last question, do
go
I
ahead.
get a commitment on this
Letter?
for vet
Okay.
school from you?
Yes, all right, something.
All right. Beautiful. Okay, now more you can ask your
Okay.
question.
You've done. I'm gonna say everything. You've done
No.
everything in terms of the vet space. There we go. That's what I wanted
No.
to hear. What haven't you done, and what would you like to have done?
It's hard to say. There are limitations when you're in practice. And I have
Right.
not done a C-section on a horse in practice because that is too hard to do. I've done a lot of surgeries on horses, but the C-section is basically too hard because most of the time you also find that the colt is dead already. And I've done
Right.
C-sections on cows with dead calves, but horses are so much more sensitive and not as resistant to infection, you could call it, as cows, so that I've never done it yet. Not that I want to do it,
Wow.
but it's something that, yes, no.
Yeah. Well, if the opportunity comes up, you're the first person I will call. I
Okay.
promise.
If we ever
Okay.
need a C-section on a horse,
Yes.
we'll
If
email
we-
Nancy to set it up.
If that call comes in, we're contacting Nancy, then we got you covered. So
Already.
50 years practicing veterinary medicine. This year will be the 20th season of The Incredible Dr. Pol. All this is available on Disney Plus.
And Nat Geo Wild.
Yeah, the new season's debuting July 10th, so this
Yes.
might
Yes.
be a little bit after on Nat Geo Wild. Author of Never Turn Your Back on an Angus Cow. Honestly, I couldn't have had a better conversation. I've been geeking out a little bit because, like, I absolutely love what you do, and this is. I would love to be able to chat with you in the future about this. We'd love to have you back on. This was such an amazing conversation. Thank you
Good.
for
Thank you.
inspiring a generation of veterinarians.
And you have inspired.
You really have.
All I want is that people treat animals better and that they understand when it has to go to the vet because something is going on. And yes, that makes a better life for man and beast.
And that's what you say. Animals make us better humans.
Definitely.
I think.
Oh, heck
I-
yes. Definitely.
I think that's the perfect place to
Yeah.
end. So thank you all for
Thank you.
listening. You could go to
thedrpaul.com to check out. There's a shop there. We're gonna put it here for everyone.
they have a really cute rubber duck.
All the social media is gonna be on the bottom.
Yeah.
Honestly, thank you so much, Dr. Paul.
Thank you,
You're
guys.
wonderful. You're inspiring, and you have lived more than most. And we really appreciate you coming
Thank you.
on.
Thank you so much.
Hope to
Thank
see you
you.
again.